Hello, audience. Welcome to Brain Tunes with Achna in collaboration with Radio Brain Rhyme. Today, I have with me a very versatile personality, a dynamic young lady presenting to you Ms. Raina Khatri Tandon, CEO Right2Rise. Welcome to Brain Tunes with Achna, Ms. Tandon.
Thank you very much, Archana, and thank you very much, Brain Tunes, for having me, the founder of Right2Rise and RKT Foundation, Raina Khatri Tandon, for you. Thank you.
Audience, I would like to give you a brief about who Ms. Tandon is. She is a breakthrough coach, a certified Posh compliance expert, and a trainer. She is a two-times TEDx speaker at Gateway and the founder of Right2Rise. She has many accomplishments to her credit. She is a NVC relationship expert, NLP, a change strategist, a mentor, keynote speaker, women empowerment entrepreneur. Now that catches my eye. Raina, rather than me speaking about you, I would like you to talk about your credentials and your accomplishments.
So, thank you very much, Archana. And yes, I think the first thing I would like to talk about is being a founder of Right2Rise, because as much as I am with Right2Rise, Right2Rise is with me and the people who are there in it. Yes, we've built it over a period of time. I have 22 years of experience, and it's been only 3 years since Right2Rise has emerged. It's India's first and only comprehensive Posh POXO human rights and stress solution provider. And we believe in giving solutions to organizations, schools, NGOs, and many other individualistic societies where promoting gender neutral and ethical workspaces is important. And in doing so, the people who are certified by us, working with us as a team, they believe in creating these strategic solutions with heart and also listening out so that the productivity and growth is not compromised. Yes, we have flagship programs. Reach Out is one of them. And we have also RKT Foundation, which is looking at meeting the ends of NGOs, CSR events, a lot of rural, semi-rural areas where we want to reach out. Apart from that, yes, me, Raina Khatri Tandon, has a versatile and a more flavored life where I believe that every role I play, whether it's a creative mother, an innovative wife, a listenable person in life, and carrying on all my social and my personal and professional commitments with all stride and enjoying every moment of the life which comes in.
That's amazing, Ms. Tandon. So you are in USA a plethora of roles, which is just amazing to hear. I would be more interested in knowing what is POSH and POXO. Could you detail us
Okay.
about it?
Right. So all the viewers, I think many of them, when we hear this word posh, they feel that it's more to do with having a posh lifestyle and kind of working towards a more comprehensive world. But POSH actually is Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act for Women at Workplace, Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013. It works essentially towards the dignity and respect of women at workplace. The Constitution of India has its jurisdiction working towards the fundamental rights of women, and we want to enforce the rights of life, right to dignity, right to respect, right to practice any trade, profession, or business in with respect to keeping her free from environment safe from sexual abuse, harassment, or any other pornographic forms. So that's all for sexual harassment. Yes, it comprises of 5 different major ways like physical contact and advances, making sexually colored remarks, a demand or request of sexual favors, showing pornography, or maybe any other physical, verbal, non-verbal conduct of sexual nature, which we all have seen. Ideally, it could be maybe directly or implied or maybe an explicit form. So yes, that's more about what is sexual harassment for people out there.
So, Ms. Tandon, could you please tell us about whom is it applicable to, and when do you think people should look at this act? organizations, what is the minimum number of employees,
Right.
to have in an
So,
organization to bring Posh?
very interesting question for people who are there in today's world. So, if you're a normal parent, an educator, an individual who's staying in societies, I'm sure all of us have seen that sometimes there is an unwanted feeling. There is something which is
Another
unwelcome
person,
from
maybe
another gender or maybe the same gender coming to you. Now, Posh has certain processes and systems designed by the government of India. The law iterates that it has to have an IC committee inside its setup or an LC committee outside its setup, and that is majorly drawn based on the number of employees. So if you have employees 10 and less, then the entire setup, may you be a startup, may you be an SME, a company owner, a private limited, a proprietorship, or any other setup, including a freelancing person or an unorganized sector, if you have less than 10 people, then you have to approach a local complaints committee, which is placed in every sector or every district or taluk or the sector or zone where it operates or its jurisdiction is. But if you have a company more than 10 people, then ideally the IC committee which we are looking at has to be framed at workplace inside the setup, where it comprises of minimum 5 members, and these 5 members are presiding officer, who's a lady who's the senior most and who understands the company's ways of working, and she also understands legal terms. Then you have 2 female members to support her ways of operation and mediation and taking care of the safety and healthy workplace, and maybe a male member who can look at the male perception point of view when any case comes to the IC committee. Apart from these 4 people, you need an external body, somebody who's capable enough to handle the legal Posh Act, knows about the act, the laws. It could be an NGO person, it could be a legal practitioner, it could be an advocate, lawyer, or a normal person who understands the terms, terminologies, and the handling of the act, because the act very clearly specifies it has to be somebody who's either worked with a women association for maybe 5 to 7 years, or a person who understands the legalities behind the Posh Act, and it could be somebody who's there from an NGO.
So, Ms. Tandon, you said that they are employees of the organization who are acquainted these terminologies with which you have mentioned. So,
Absolutely.
can they undergo a training? Do organizations provide training for these?
Okay, so ideal, the government of India has a Ministry of Women and Children, and they have formulated the act. So ideally, as per the act and government, we do have certain programs which the government has to incorporate, but not going into what they do, there are private organizations which cater to delivering the act and understanding of it in depth, and each and every organization or a company or a firm or even schools and colleges has to abide the awareness, the creating of policies, the IC committee formations in their setup, which is a mandate followed by the government of India. So there could be programs done by the government of India, or there could be private companies who are running these trainings and certifications. For example, Right2Rise is an accredited body, an ISO certified body which takes care of certifications of Posh at various levels, various sectors. And we do certified programs of different levels. For each levels, we take you through a process of understanding, of assessment, of knowledge and skill building of the employees. And that's when we come to the accreditation and the process of certification, saying that they are ISO certified and they meet the standards as per ISO.
Okay, Ms. Tandon. Let's say a company or an organization does not have the Posh committee or to address these issues. So under such circumstances, where will the victim go, or what is the recourse for the victim?
So in case you don't have a Posh committee in place, or in case you're not taking care of the provisions of the act, there could be various penalties and there could be criminal investigations on you. As per the Act, if you do not have a POSH policy in place, or you do not follow the Act, or you don't do the awareness programs, which is a need of the Act, you will undergo a penalty of up to 50,000 rupees, which is highly implied on the organization, whether you're a small scale owner or a big MNC, it's the same. But yes, it varies as per the legal practitioners again, because we are in this world where we see the law and the amendments changing. So as of now, the law says it is an implication of up to 50,000 rupees, which is imposed on the company if they do not follow or abide the laws of the land. Yeah.
Okay, and Ms. Tandon, there is always a hesitation in the victim to complain, and that is where these cases go unreported. So, what do you think the employees should be made aware of so that in case they are encountering some such thing, they are not hesitant to come and speak up about it?
Okay, so I'm sure when somebody gets victimized, okay, it's not easy for them to speak up, right?
Read.
It is always important that you understand that they have undergone a certain process which is not applicable for them to be in a calm state of mind. On the contrary, there could be certain beliefs that who should I trust and who should I not, because the perpetrator has gone over and above a particular line which he should not have crossed, and the victim's silence is because he's not able to expel his emotions out. Okay, so ideally those kind of people will be in a mind frame where they are already in a state of shock, or they feel that who should we approach to, because if they approach their family, maybe their family would not be in a state of helping them, or if they approach their companies or their friends and family, who is that they can trust on. So ideally, let's empathize first with people who undergo that. And then if you really see certain signs, for example, you see somebody who's not himself or herself, they have a change in their character or their emotion, or they're not coming in on time, or they are not actually speaking to the entire crowd, or they're just keeping themselves aloof from the crowd, or they maintain distance, or they avoid any kind of environments where there is a lot of noise and shutter, or you see any changes in their attitude, then I think you should be in a state of mind to go and help them, talk to them, reach out to them, and see if you can reach out to the right people who can support them, maybe an IC committee member, maybe social organization, maybe Right2Rise, because our details are out there, but then not every person who's out there in the world knows about us. So there could be multiple organizations where, or even reach out to the government e-cell. So you have Shebox for Posh, and you have various e-cells of various governments, where at least if you bring to their notice, then these perpetrators are behind bars, or they've been working towards a changing mindset which has been curbing them to do certain activity which is causing sexual abuse and violence. So I
Okay.
think your support is more important here. That's all I can say.
Agreed. So there will be behavioral changes, and one needs to observe them in order to, identify
Yeah.
that there's something wrong and extend a helping hand. Right,
Yeah,
Mr. Tandon?
exactly. And making them also talk, because survivors are not willing to talk. And if they're not willing to talk, we cannot help the other people who might fall trap of it.
Right.
So ideally helping this person and helping every other person who might undergo a bullying or a ragging or a pornography, or even worse, criminal offenses which these perpetrators cause. And we don't want that to happen. And the best thing is to probably make them talk, give them the support, allow them to just be themselves, and release the emotion which they have tied up themselves inside them. So yeah.
Okay, Ms. Tandon. So I keep hearing you, if he, and he. So I gather that POSH is specifically for women, and men are not covered under this act. Am I right, Ms. Tandon?
Yeah. So let's take that issue up. So, Posh is Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act for Women at Workplace. As the name specifies, the act is specifically for women at workplace to maintain their dignity and respect. But there is a myth that this act is not for men completely. Of course, if we are in an inclusive environment and we say we want to maintain equality, we want to maintain gender sensitivity, we want to see that we are more sensitive and listenable to everybody in terms of men, women, or transgender, then we need to also enforce that even though the act is built to safeguard women, yet there are companies who are creating these gender neutral policies, anti harassment policies, code of conduct along with the harassment policy to maintain this inclusiveness or this non-judgmental bias that we always carry in our patriarchal society. So we don't want to misjudge them or tell them that, yes, this is only a women based act, or we are trying to be feminist here when we say, yes, only women are supported. Let's not put that terminology, though it is very specifically put in the act. Let's become a little more again using the word inclusive, again using the word more understandable, more feasible, giving them the space that even women are there to listen to you. And if you really get um, attacked by a false allegation, or you're attacked by somebody who's trying to bog you down because they want power or position, any kind of accusations which can go against the woman, saying that the man is wrong, we should be there to be able to make that principle of natural justice, of equal hearing, of listening out to them, of allowing them to express even though they are of the other gender. So yes, the policy can be something where um, it is created to maintain a society of an equal mindset, of an equal growth, of equal talent composition, so that we have more growth and productivity. So that should be your aim, rather than just always saying it's okay, it's only for women, and then discarding or pushing away or shunning away the entire male genre, which I don't really like. But yes, being a founder myself, I think a leader is one who leads the society, and they should always be leading all genders and every person in the society, so that they feel very free flowing, and what you mean by non-judgmental and biased society is stopped completely.
Got it, Ms. Tandon. But my query was with regard to not necessary that only women are victims. There are several instances where men also are victimized.
Yes.
And coming from the Indian upbringing and culture, men are considered to be macho, right? And there's nothing that a man should be bogged down with. And so this all the more makes a man hesitant in reporting or complaining. Right. So that
Yeah.
that was my query as to men may not be as open as I don't say women are very open about abuse. First thing is the stigma attached around it. So women don't come up. But for men, it is all the more difficult. But then we do have
Yes.
recourse if men are in this situation. Right, Mr. Anand?
Yeah. So if men are in this situation, then I think we should allow them to come and speak up to us. And that allowing will only happen when we show them the trust that, we are not biased towards women, or we go beyond breaking those glass ceilings that we say, okay, women are empowered, women break the glass ceiling. We understand that we have been given that freedom today, but we need to also actuate to understand that that freedom is still given to us by our same men, or the same society we stay in, that includes men and women. So let's be empathetic, let's be agile, let's flow, and let's understand that all these adaptability is only going to help us to also help and support the male gender. So
Right,
yes, we
Mr.
need
Anand.
to help them too. Yeah.
So let's say the perpetrator has been proved wrong. So what will be the recourse or punishment that is, levied out to this person?
So here we have the aggrieved woman and the perpetrator, and of course the perpetrator has done something wrong on the aggrieved woman, is what I understand. And the perpetrator is wrong, he is proved, the witnesses are going against him, and yes, we need to take some action. So the first action can be asking him whether he really agrees. Of course, if he agrees and the woman says that, if the crime is not very brutal, or it's not very highly it cannot be compensated or cannot be mediated, then you need to take an action. But if it's something very minor, then probably a mediation between both parties can be initiated. We
Mhm.
can talk to them and we can see if things may not be repetitive. But if the ball is not in our court, in the sense that if a more brutal or a more heinous crime has been done, then the next course of inquiry is the only solution which goes through. So there's no question of apology, there's a direct reprimand, or maybe a seizure of request, or maybe allowing him to just leave the organization with giving her compensation, or even punishing him to the criminal offenses of whatever he has done. So he can go to an extent of probably losing his assets or maybe his PPF account, his entire respect, and also not allowed to open any other business entity or hold leadership positions or probably grow in an organization or individually into a trust or any other setup which he wishes to hold. So that's quite a, you can say cruel, but then because of his doings, we give them these offenses which needs to be going through. But by law, I think we all understand that justice has to be given when things like this happen. So yes, there are various other offenses or various other compensation methods, like they need to pay up for whatever they have done in terms of medical expenses or taking care of the women and their family and a lot of other things. But yes, these are some of the things which need to be taken care of when the perpetrator is found guilty.
Right. So this is in case the allegation is proved. What happens in case
Yes.
of a false allegation, Ms. Tandon?
Okay, so in case there's a false allegation, then it needs to be proved. Again, this is the case where we don't have any supporting documents that the woman, whatever she's been saying, is true. Or then there is a cross examination and we find that, the women are maybe fooling us or they're lying, or the evidence found is not apt, or there is some kind of misallegation or false allegation, or maybe some kind of wrongdoings against the man just because you have some kind of hatred towards him, some
Mhm.
kind of approach where you want to put him down and get your revenge back for some reason. Now, these are not basically supported by law. So I'm sure that if you are punishing the man against the woman, then the law has created provisions where the women also will undergo criminal offenses, high penalties, and double the amount of punishment. So yes, all those will be served as per the provisions of the law and as per act and the rules as per code of conduct of the company. But yes, we will follow strict action against the woman too.
Right. So it depends on the inquiry, and in case the
Yeah,
allegations are right, the woman is sufficiently
she's
compensated.
penalized.
Otherwise, the same
Yes,
happens with the man as well. So it
yes,
is
she's
not
been
that.
penalized and she's been taken through another way of course of inquiry as much as a man does.
Okay, so just like you said, this man, if proved guilty, he may lose his job, he may not be allowed to grow in the organization, he may lose all his respect. So, do you think that will be translated to the false alligator as well?
Uh, Well, I can't say, it depends on the case. Every case is very pertinent. But if it is a serious allegation, yes, it will affect both parties. And I think whenever we talk about any case, let me understand and tell you one thing is that whether the person has done something wrong or whether the lady has done it wrong or the man has done it, at every instance, I think both of them are really undergoing a lot of hell. They are undergoing a lot of name defaming and disrespect, and people looking down to them as if they've already done the crime. Their own families and friends, they might have jail time, they might have penalties, they might always have friends, family who always don't look up to him again. They might not have other positions which that they might grow. So even before proving, I think when once you get that tag of sexual harassment, it becomes quite a big thing for a person in their personal and professional lives. So I think in either case, it's a big loss to both the company and to the person or the lady.
Right. So, in conclusion, Ms. Tandon, can I say that it is very important to have POSH awareness programs, certifications, and campaigns to ensure that employees do understand what are the implications, what are the do's and don'ts in case of an incident.
Absolutely. I think you banged it spot on with a pin on the hammer, I would say that once you nail it, I think the first thing what you do is making all your people aware. And this awareness program has to happen every 6 months. We at Right to Rise believe that all our certified professionals are highly skilled and they are knowledge experts. At the same time, they know what exactly they are putting out in their awareness modules. They are very well scripted, they are very focused, and they are signature products which are created with a lot of depth and experience. Once this awareness module is given into your organizations, whether you're at SMEs or at government or at any of the MNCs, including understanding countries and their laws outside, which we work with certain countries abroad as well, where we understand the European laws or maybe the laws of the land wherever we are catering to, we see that every person understands that with such a depth that we can't go over and above doing anything wrong and crossing the lines of the act. We need to know where to draw the line. We need to understand that this is something which we need to follow as a mandate. So having awareness programs is one thing, keeping your reframe policy as per the present scenario. So whether you're at work from home or you're in pandemic or you're breaking into the next level of the new era, I think every time you have to reframe your policy as per the need. And then probably skill building and capacity programs are even more important because you have perfect committees which have to be operating at their maximum potential for the growth and productivity not to be hindered with any of these incidents reoccurring or occurring once or many times. Because I'm sure that dehydrates or it demotivates all your employees, and then everybody's in fear or in state of questioning that, are we actually safe? Are we actually equal? Are we actually inclusive? And people would not want to stay in a place where they don't find the first criteria, that safety, productivity, growth, and talent acquisitions. Yeah.
Completely agree with that, Ms. Tandon. And it was a really, really informative discussion wherein I guess my audience have come to know about several aspects of what is POSH and how and when it has to be applied. And in case there is a problem, what to do further. Audience, I guess you enjoyed this talk with Ms. excuse me, with Ms. Tandon. And in case you want to get in touch with her for either the certification, the awareness programs, or for any other information with regard to help regarding any of the cases or situations you are in, you will be provided with all of her social media handles, contact IDs in the description below in the link for Brain Tunes with Archana. It was amazing having you on my show, Ms. Tandon. And one last word of caution or anything which you would like to tell to my audience.
So I would just like to say two lines. Silence is golden for some. Silence is hardening for another. If you're there to listen to some, then listen to the other as well. Because sometimes looking into the eye, sometimes being with them, sometimes listening out creates the magic in the world of some. So please be with them, stay safe, stay secure, and thank you so much for listening out to me. That's signing off, Mrs. Raina Khatri Tandon, founder of Right to Rise and RKT Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tandon. It was lovely having you on my show.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you.